Hey, how are you doing? It is Sunday, February 19th at the time of the filming of this. So if you're watching on YouTube, timestamps will be below in the description for your readings. And other than that, you can watch whatever you feel called to watch. So hope you're doing great. And we will just take a second for people to show up. Hey. Hey, how are you guys doing today? Hi, I love sherbet ice cream. Love it. Hi, how are you doing? I'm gonna drink some coffee. Hey, good morning. Long time no see. Hope you're well. I'm doing great. I hope you're doing well too. Yeah. So we're just giving a second for people to show up, and I was deliberating talking about a certain thing, but I was kind of getting maybe not to, so that's okay. But it does turn out the microphone when because there's a mute option, but when I mute it, I think it just switches the mic to the phone mic, and so it doesn't really mute anything. And I was trying to mute the sound when I was drinking water and coffee last week or a couple weeks ago, and it turns out it doesn't work. So yeah, I guess you guys will just be when I do that, listen to me drink coffee. It'll be coffee ASMR, as I like to joke. Every Sunday, this is what I look forward to. That means a lot. And that is really an honor. So thank you for telling me, and that's really awesome. Hey, Sean. uh, yeah, Sean is the one who told me that muting the mic does not work. So, which is good information. Good morning, official floral roses. We are going to start the collective soon, and so we will get into it. Actually, we're going to start it now. So, fully flags good. We are going to jump into the collective reading. The collective reading is just for everybody. It's just for whoever's here and whoever sees it on YouTube whenever they see it. And then, of course, we'll get into the other signs as well. So, no big deal to hear you drink. Thank you. I think I make a bigger deal out of it as a joke than it really is. But thank you for letting me know and reassuring me, because it's good to know just in case. But for the collective, so the first message that came through for the collective, and there is more than I believe I channeled down ahead of time. The first message is that you guys are going to be on fire, and it's also about making change, allowing change, receiving change, or making something happen. So a lot of fire energy in a good way is also a part of this message, like feeling fiery, feeling ready to do something. It's all kind of the same message, even if it seems a little bit differentiated, but it seems like you're going to be on fire to either make a change or just on fire with the change that's happening. Or maybe you're just feeling fiery and maybe you're beating yourself up over it, but maybe it's the exact energy you need to make the changes in your life you need to make, is something I'm hearing. But there is kind of just like for the highest good, it's a good fire, like a fire entering the collective to just pretty much get stuff done, is what I'd say. The next message they'd like me to get to here, they're actually showing me a skyscraper, like a tower that's a skyscraper. So let me see what's going on with the skyscraper and what messages they'd like to bring through. And they're showing me a visual of someone like window washing one of the like just a skyscraper. And let me just see what the message is. Give me 1 second here as it plays out. So a lot of you are being cleaned up for something, is something I'm getting, like a future event. I don't know why certain love messages have been starting to come in more recently. I noticed it like this past week, I think, or last week, where I would start to pull cards and like notice a love message coming through. So could be if you're single and like that's coming up for you. It doesn't have to be this, by the way, that you're being prepared for love. Could just be a major event that's coming up or like a change. They're showing me a job interview as well for some of you. But you're being cleaned up energetically for it is something I'm getting. Because it's like this skyscraper is like for sale in this intuitive visual I'm getting. And it's like being cleaned up for the sale. So the other thing they're giving with this message is you have a bigger purpose. You know, like for instance, maybe a skyscraper, and don't take this literally, because I mean, I guess how could you? But with the skyscraper, it's almost like, you know, a skyscraper could house like a myriad of different offices and businesses, and maybe not all of them are like great, or oops, sorry, the sign fell, or they aren't all exactly what's supposed to be there, if that makes sense. I'm kind of getting the words like a better opportunity, like you're getting a better opportunity. So if you feel like something's being cleaned out, it's kind of just like, you know, it's being prepared for what's actually supposed to be there. It's like the skyscraper in this visual has a greater purpose by housing a greater business that does good in the world. And I feel like you're going to be holding space, or are holding space, for better things that are going to do better things for your life, if that makes sense, is kind of what I'm hearing on that one. I feel like this has been coming through pretty frequently, and maybe it's just a really good reminder for you guys, but they're just kind of talking about, you know, when something is lost, or if you lose something, it's going to be replaced with something better or more aligned. I'm hearing this weird quote like loss isn't permanent, and I know it's good to balance that message a little bit, because when you lose like a loved one or someone, it's like you probably aren't like literally going to get that person back. I know if you do any type of, you know, talking to past on loved ones or anything like that, like channeling or mediumship, that's a little bit different, but even still, like you still have the loss of them on the human plane as they were. So you can still be in that grief and be talking to them. It's kind of a weird thing. But regarding other things, you're going to get something better, is something I'm getting. Or it's like it kind of gets repaid or comes back in a different form. It's like that quote that goes around on like Instagram, or like how energy doesn't get lost, it comes back in a different form or something like that. So kind of a message like that, but I feel like it's like up leveling, it's better. And it's like the skyscraper in this visual is starting to serve its purpose. And it's like that is probably you as well, as what I'd say. The next message, they showed me a crab, and it was about breaking through the shell. Like they showed someone like breaking through the shell of a crab. And I'm so sorry if you're vegan, that's probably not a fun visual. But if any of you have had a tough time breaking through something, you're going to have an easier time. Life is not going to hold you back forever. So some of you might have felt like you've been held back for a long time, or are held back now, but life is not going to hold you back forever. And it is about like breakthroughs. I feel like this is really about internal breakthroughs as well. It could even be about like internal breakthroughs regarding taking action, so that you are able to take action is one way this message is coming to me as well. So just know there's a lot of like, there's either one big breakthrough or multiple breakthroughs for a lot of you tuning into this. But I feel like all of you are going to have some type of breakthrough, whether it's internal or external or something like that. So there is a bit more with that message. So let me sit with what else I'd like to bring through for you guys. Fully fly is good. They're also pointing to the claws of the crab. And I believe there's one type of crab called I think it's called the hammer crab, or I don't know if it's hammer arm crab or whatever. And I think it's a crab that has like a gigantic claw, and I don't remember if it actually uses it as a hammer, because to me it seems like, well, whatever. What is the message here? It's kind of like some of you have been building strength for something. You know those jokes that are often in cartoons where like a character like gets into like arm wrestling or something, and all of a sudden like they're like one arm is like really jacked and then the other one's like normal. Because they keep doing like arm wrestling or whatever. Let me get back to what they want to say here. Because I had it and then I kind of lost it. So I'm sorry. Sometimes, very occasionally, I'll get a channel message and it's just like, whoop, and I'll forget it before I get it out of my mouth, which is not ideal. So I'm going to ask them to bring it back at the right time then. But with the hammer arm, if they'll give it to me one more time, and if not, we'll just keep going and they'll bring it back, because they usually do. I mean, maybe this breakthrough has been something you've been like building strength for, or just something like you're finally ready to have, just through the way you've been going through it or training. Not that you've probably been specifically training for a breakthrough, but you know, sometimes life trains us, so to speak, to have a breakthrough or accomplish something, or to be ready for something. We're just going to go to the next message that they'd like me to get to here. They're showing me a sailboat next here. They're giving me the word ease. And they're kind of talking about how sailboats just put their sail out and they catch the wind and it carries them forward. Like it's meant to be like easeful in the way it happens. And it's like some of you are trying to paddle your sailboats when you just need to unfurl the sail and kind of let source carry you to your next destination or through what you're going through. And you need to have faith in the universe that you'll have the winds you need to move forward at the right time. As far as what that could symbolize and what that means for you, for some of you, it's the energy you have to work is something I'm getting. Like maybe you just like don't feel energized right now and you're like forcing yourself through it. And I feel like it's okay if you're doing that, but especially if you're trying to do like side projects in addition to like a 40-hour work week or something like that, or I don't know if this is the exact right direction, but something like that. Some of you might not have a choice, but another way to look at it might be, what if you waited for the wind to fill your sails and you felt naturally compelled to do it, or you felt like you had the energy to do it, if that makes sense. One of the memories that pops into my head as I'm talking about this is this one time where it was a day I didn't necessarily have any one-on-one readings I was doing. And I just also had it seemed to me like I had a lot of other things to do and like prepare for just other things going on in my business. And I was just kind of like sitting with like, oh, I need to like do this work. I need to like channel these messages for this reading. And then I have to do it on this day. And then I have to do it on this day. And I was just kind of feeling like really overwhelmed and like this sense. I don't usually feel this way about my work, by the way, but this like dread and just like, and like for whatever reason about it. And the person I'm dating was like, why don't you just like do this tomorrow or not do this right now? And I was just, because I was just in my head, I was like, oh, I got to get this done now. And so I'm like, okay. And so I think I kept trying for 30 more minutes and eventually I was like, okay. And then the next day I woke up and I started doing it. I'm like, oh, this isn't that bad. This is great. So that's might kind of be how it shows up. That's not the only way it could show up though. But you know, when the wind is naturally filling the sails and we're not trying to paddle our sailboat and we're like, okay, I can do this. We can just flow with this. You know? And you know, sometimes the universe wants you to take a break, is what I also feel called to say regarding that story. But anyways, let me come back to what else would specifically be for you regarding this message. Fully for that's good, or what else would help you to know about this? Fully for that's good. I'm getting a message as well, like some of you might just be trying too hard. And this is like a slightly different tone or a very different tone, but in like a relationship or to have something you want. And the universe is trying to get you or is advising you to invite ease into the situation and ask like, okay, like how can this flow naturally? Or how can I let this unfold naturally? Instead of trying to force it to be a certain way or force it in a certain direction, and just see where the wind takes you with it. And I feel like you'll be more successful. I don't know if that's the perfect way to phrase that message because they're indicating they have a different way they want to say it. So what's the highest best way to say it or the best clarification? For others of you that you don't feel like that applies to, if you don't feel like that one applies to you, what's the message for the other people? If you are trying to paddle your sailboat metaphorically and you don't feel like you're getting wind in your sails in the next month or two, what they're showing me is like, funny enough, like pretty much like the universe handing you, spirit, God, source, handing you like an outboard motor to fit onto your sailboat and to kind of just like motor ahead to your next destination. But either way, you're getting some way to move forward where you're trying to force something that might not be working is something I'm getting, or you're trying to force something where it's not meant to fit right now, if that makes sense. The next message, is there more with boat before we move on here? They're also showing a pirate ship in the distance with this boat, and they're just saying you're divinely protected, like the pirate ship won't get to you. The other thing about that pirate ship is it looks kind of old and rickety. It's like falling apart. They're showing me the, let's see here. They're showing me the Flying Dutchman as well, funny enough. And what's going on here? I feel like you're just afraid of something that's not going to harm you because like the ship's like falling apart and like sinking is something I'm getting, even if it looks kind of harrowing or maybe even tragic is a word that's coming in, but that doesn't seem to, whatever. Next message, they showed me magic. They gave me the word magic, and it was about just a reminder to turn to, and this isn't, I'll explain it. It'll make sense once I get through this whole message. Turn to magic if you are not sure what to do. And for example, like manifest, do an energy healing session for yourself or your life, set intentions for the situation, etc. Increasingly, it will be a better solution for things, especially as the collective rises with, I'm hearing energetic potency and allowing things to be more easeful. And as more people awaken to like spirituality or other things like that, and more allowance of the possibility of those things, it's easier for people to access that. At the same token, you're not limited. You can access it now. You're unlimited. And I hesitate to purport that anyone is limited by the collective overly much, because what if it's possible to step beyond that and not be? And that feels light to me, and that feels true to me. But just know that this is going to be opening wide as a possibility for people to just work with their magic to change things. And like, again, to me, like, I mean, magic can be a lot of different things, but it could be, for instance, things like manifestation, energy healing, consciousness work, setting intentions, whatever. It doesn't necessarily have to be like spells on a new moon. It could be if you're into that and you know how to work with that. But I meant more just like magic in general, not necessarily a specific kind of magic. Does that make sense? So let me see what else I'd like to bring through for the collective right now here. They're kind of taking it back to, if that's good, the fire energy we talked about here. If you're feeling like angry, like at the world or even at yourself, now's a really good time to direct that anger at like what you can do about it, or how you can heal in the situation, or into taking action is something I'm getting. It's okay if you have to like burn something off or burn through some emotion before taking action, but I would try to direct that into action if you can. And it's not necessarily like, of course, and I don't know if I really need to over explain it necessarily, but it's not necessarily taking action where like you're bopping people over the head or taking like anger fueled like lower actions. It could just be like you're feeling the anger, you're sitting with it for a second, you're like, okay, I'm changing this, I'm getting a new job, I'm setting some type of healthy boundary in this relationship, I'm doing XYZ. I feel like now's the time to do that sort of thing, but try to do it in a higher aligned like way instead of instead of calling your boss and cussing them out or something like that. I feel like if you do it in a higher aligned way, it's really effective, is something I'm getting. So, and like, it's kind of like the fire's there to fuel the change or something like that is what I'd say as well. The next thing they're showing me is ocean water, like salt water in particular. Under the ocean water, there's this octopus, there's this squid. We're on this mollusk kick again, I suppose, because there's like a week where mollusks showed up for like every reading. And these mollusks are showing up for this reading as well. But we're getting all of these different sea creatures with this message. There's like a whale, there's a dolphin. It's almost like this convention of sea creatures. Let me see where this message is going here. If you have a sea creature spirit animal, or one is showing up for you like in your life or like just around you in signs, like now's a really good time to pay attention to that and work with that energy. Like that's going to be very transformational. And they're kind of showing me this message and visual of how the ocean is always changing. Like you have the currents and like the tides and like this motion of the water through the ocean. And that's not supposed to be a euphemism. So bear with me for a second here. But they're kind of tying that into how you too are always changing, and you too go through different seasons within yourself. And yes, like you can think of it in very literal terms, like the hormonal cycles that both men, women, and non-binary peoples go through biologically. But even on like a grander scale, there are like energetic cycles or spiritual cycles we go through in a sense, or I'm kind of getting off track, but different cycles we'll go through in our lives. Why is this important right now? It might just be important to work with your cycles. Like when you're feeling on, like put in extra work, like be on, like go. When you're feeling like tired or like you need a day, like rest or try to like give that to yourself and work with yourself in that way. And I'm hearing the phrase like your body will thank you. So your body will thank you for that. And sometimes it's like forcing ourselves through our cycles or against our cycles is like the exact wrong move, even if we think we should because of like what society says. So really, I'm really purporting that you listen to yourself. Something in so many words right there. Just regarding the cycles you're in, collectively, personally, biologically, energetically, whatever it is. But I feel like if you're doing that, I feel like that's going to help you succeed is pretty much what what I heard is if you're doing that, you will succeed in some way, or maybe life will just be better. But for some reason, there's this message of paying attention to the cycles and how you're feeling and like honoring that or working with that instead of against it. Cause like you're not a machine is something I'm getting as well. You're not meant to just like, you're not like a pasta cutting machine that's supposed to just sit there and like cut pasta all day, 24/7. It's just not going to work. So you're like a human that cuts pasta sometimes, or, you know, so I feel like that's it for the collective. I feel like I'm kind of going on and on about that. And I don't know, hopefully that was helpful at the very least. And that just did whatever was for the highest good for it to do for you. It's just reminders or whatever you need to hear. And it didn't seem super crazy as far as messages today, but maybe that's what you need. And I need to trust that. So we are going to go to the fire signs next. And I am having trouble finding the fire sign for the fire signs. Got it. And I'm going to take a quick water break. Ooh. Thank you so much for the paper crane Ford cap. I appreciate it. Would you like to get back into the rage, fury, and burning it? Sure, let's talk about it for a second before we get to the fire signs and see what would be highest on us to come through about it right now. Sometimes our anger is like our fuel that is saying, hey, we need to change something. It can be meant to bring us the potency or the ideas we need to change something, if that makes sense. I think it makes sense to maybe sit with it and like let it burn a little bit if you feel like you're about to take an action you're going to regret, like yelling at someone. Or I hesitate to use the word Karen because I've met people named Karen who are really wonderful people, and I understand how that term spawned and became a thing. But you know, if you were going to metaphorically be a Karen, maybe take a second to be like, okay, I'm going to sit with myself for a second before I do this, before I come out, you know, metaphorical guns blazing. And let me see what they'd like to say here. But that anger might be a sign to change something at the same time, or to take action to change something, if that makes sense. So I'd say, like, as far as like actually burning it off, if you were looking at advice on that, like you could literally just kind of meditate and like sit with it and be with that emotion and just kind of breathe through it. And again, like allow yourself to meet it, to sit with it, to allow it to kind of flow through. And then you'll get the clarity, is something I'm getting as well for those of you who that resonates for as a way to potentially tackle that. But I'm just getting this message like anger is here to change things. So I don't know if that helps and clarifies it a bit more. Anger comes before pain. Yes. And that's another way that's another thing that can happen with anger. Thank you for saying that. And, I suppose you could say reminding me too, because I know sometimes anger is like our cover up for pain or for fear or for sadness or for something, you know. So yeah, excuse me. Okay, they're saying I need to move to the fire signs. I'm gonna drink some water. So fire signs, sun, moon are rising. This is a good opportunity to, actually, I'm not going to unmirror it. We'll just roll with it. So for the fire signs, so the good news for the fire signs, sun, moon are rising, is that you guys are up leveling like big time. you might not even see the changes yet that are going to be coming, but over the next few years, and this might sound a little bit obvious, but what I'm hearing is over the next few years, things are going to be like very different. Like you're becoming someone new, you're changing everything around you. You might even be like knocking a lot of things down that are structures in your life that seem important to you right now that you'll be ready to let go of in the next few years is something I'm getting. But you're up leveling so much you won't be able to keep everything in your life around you, and this could be energetically and frequency wise. It is something I'm getting, but also just you as a person. And if you think of like I'll just use the example. If you think of like a CEO of a company and like what they would tolerate in their life from like their people or people in their life, and I want to say this in the right ways and not insult anybody. Think of like someone who's an entry-level employee who's just starting out in the world and they don't have as much of a concept for like how employees should be treated or things like that. And not necessarily, because there are definitely entry-level like employees who have great boundaries, they're great people, they have their head on their shoulders, fantastic all around. So, but if you were to think of this analogy just for a second with me, sometimes, not always, someone who's lower on the totem pole might be willing to accept like worse treatment like in the company than someone who's been there like 10 years and they're really high up in management or something like that, if that makes sense. And I'm not saying poor treatment of people is wrong ever. Or sorry, I am saying it's wrong. I'm not saying it's right ever. So sorry for what I just messed up there. But pretty much what I am saying is as you're like up leveling, like there might be things you're tolerating now that as you get your head on your shoulders more, not that you don't have your head on your shoulders, but as you get your head on your shoulders more, as you up level in frequencies, you're seeing more clearly, as you realize things can be better. And sometimes, you know, where we have these circumstances in our life and that's just how it's been for the past 5 years. We don't realize there's something better until we kind of either see it or something hits us or spirit's like, hey, you realize it doesn't have to be like this, or something happens along those lines. But as you're up leveling, you're going to be toppling all that crap or more of that crap is something I'm getting. I feel like I took forever to describe that, but you get me. And so you're kind of up leveling to a degree where you're just going to be changing things because of that, if that makes sense. Over the next like 3 years is kind of what I was seeing and hearing and feeling with that one. But you're going to keep up leveling. You're not done. And you're kind of in this long trajectory of up leveling where I just feel like your life is going to consistently change over the next few years with what you're allowing and what's happening for whatever reason. And maybe you don't feel like there's a lot of change right away, but eventually you're going to see a lot of change. The next message, they just gave me the phrase, a new paradigm. And I didn't take too much more time to clarify it ahead of time, so I'm just going to ask them to clarify it now here. I feel like you're just seeing things more clearly. I feel like you're seeing yourself more clearly and the people in your life more clearly. And they're giving me this quote. It's from SpongeBob, and there's this whole episode, if anyone else grew up watching SpongeBob. And for some of you, you might feel old, and for some of you might feel young. But there's this one episode I remember watching where I think like Patrick is the starfish in the show, and he's supposed to be dumb, is like his character trait, I guess, that's supposed to be funny to people. And there's this episode where his parents come to visit, and towards the end of the episode, like the people who were supposed to be his parents say their names, and then like Patrick's like, wait a second, who are you people? You're not my parents. And they spent like the whole episode together, like as a family. And he's like, who are you people? And that's kind of that quote is what I was hearing for you, like the who are you people with some of the people around you and like starting to see them more clearly. Because like just not everyone has been who you thought they were is something I'm getting, or you might see that soon. And that can be a little bit disconcerting, but it's also very freeing when you see that, because then you're not trapped by the illusion of who certain people are presenting themselves to be, or who you just bought people to be regardless of how they presented themselves, if that makes sense. You're going to just be seeing more people more clearly and making choices based on that, which will be good. The next message that came through was elephant. And is there anything else with the new paradigm though here? I feel like you're going to be more business minded is something I'm getting. Most of you tuning into this, or more success oriented is something I'm getting as well, which is good. So it doesn't have to just be about business or money or career, but for a lot of you, it could be. It could also just be success in any area that interests you. And really, for the highest good in a good way, doing really well with that. Next message, they show me elephants. Elephant spirit animal showed up, and of course it's about obstacle removal. They just said you are getting a big blessing in obstacle removal, which is good. I just feel like it'll be easier to remove obstacles, or they'll be falling away. I feel like that, yeah. Next message, they showed me a snake, and we're kind of furthering a message that already kind of started to pop in a little bit, I think. But the message is to watch out for anyone who might not have your best interests at heart. You'll know because when you take their advice, especially like friends or people in your life, things will suck. Or you'll just feel that they don't have your best interest at heart, like while you're talking to them, or maybe like a shadow will like cross their face energetically or something, and you're like, if that makes sense. And they just kind of gave this quote that I don't like this message, but not everyone's on your side. So just, you don't have to start being suspicious of every single person in your life now that I said this, but if you just notice you take someone's advice and it always sucks, or like it doesn't turn out well, or you're just talking to someone about something and you just don't feel like they wish you well in some way, like maybe it crosses their face or something, just I just pay attention to that. And what should you do about it? I don't know if you even have to do anything about it right now, but just noticing it is going to change things for you and how you approach the situation. And for some of you, it's like family members, and you know this. For others of you, it's like coworkers. For others of you, you just need to pay attention to the people you're talking to is something I'd say, for whatever reason. So the next message, anything else on that? Fully flashed here. For some of you, I just feel like you know who these people are, and this is just confirmation is something I'd say. And I don't like these messages. Well, I like a lot of these messages. I don't like this message, but if that's the message you need to hear, I'm willing to bring it through, of course. And otherwise, why am I here? Next message, they showed me dice. It was about good luck. They said, make sure you are doing what you can to ensure your success. Don't just leave it up to chance. For instance, marketing a business increases the odds someone will buy your product, for example. So what ways would be the highest ways to clarify this more for you guys here? I feel like business is like a really good way to clarify it. Like, I think we kind of have to balance this message in certain ways, because when you're more in tune and you're more magical and living in magic and constant synchronicity, there's a grand design to everything, and there's always a grand design to everything. So I don't even always perhaps like the word chance in certain instances, because I feel like sometimes you can step above and beyond it and either make things happen energetically or work with the universe to make things happen energetically, regardless of the odds. However, right now they are wanting you to think of success in terms of like odds, and like what would increase your chances of success in any given area. Could be business, could be love, or things like that. Like, for instance, if you want to increase the odds of your success as a musician, you would want to practice your musical instrument and get really good at it. And you'd like to get really good at songwriting, probably. And you'd like to really get good at probably networking and meeting people who could really help your career and give you more of a chance for that success. If it's love, you probably want to be on some type of dating website or app or something, even if it's just to set the intention and show the universe, like, yes, I'd like this. Let's get the energies going in this direction. Let's make this happen. And, if someone's asking you on a date and it feels light or good to you, and you don't have a terrible intuition about it saying, no, go on the date. You're going to have a much better chance of finding love if you go on the dates instead of not going on the dates, things like that. So you probably understand what I'm saying, but what are the things you can do to help increase your chances of success? And I think marketing a business could literally be something that's a good example, like we already talked about, where it's like you could just throw up a website and pray, or you could be learning how to post on social media and do it in an effective way that brings people in, and or running ads on whatever, Google and stuff like that. So that's just a message coming through for you guys right now. Next message, they showed me an ostrich, and they showed this ostrich running fast, and it was about a hastening of your progress, internal and external and all around. The universe is conspiring to move you faster. I feel like sometimes things just are a bit slow, but I've been getting this message a lot at this time frame. I know it's timeless, so whenever you find this, I just feel like things are going to be speeding up for you in like all areas is something I'm getting. They're showing me Sonic the Hedgehog and that quote that became a meme, like the gotta go fast or whatever, but it's not like making it's actually like, I just feel like things are going to be going faster, which is good. They're showing me a cheetah as well. I think the cheetah showed up for the like one of the other signs. It was the earth signs now that I'm looking at it. So, but cheetah is showing up for the fire signs as well. But in this instance, it's actually like the Cheetos cheetah, the Chester cheetah guy. And I'm going to have to sit with this for a second and see what they're trying to say with it. So give me 1 second. What is the message with Chester cheetah? Fully for that. That's good. Let's see. It's a quick reminder to stay away from junk food, friends. So if do your best, maybe cut back on junk food and just try to eat something healthier. Eat a vegetable or something. I'm not saying you need to eat raw beets for all your meals, but could just help to eat healthier. I feel like you'll feel better. I feel like the energies are supporting healthier eating. That's what I'm hearing as well. And you might just find yourself feeling better with everything if you're eating healthier. It's really interesting because more recently, I hadn't had this as much before. And I've just found myself really noticing the vibrations of foods when I eat it more, and like how that's impacting my body as I like almost like exactly when I eat it, just based on the energies alone, I guess you could say. And I've already kind of done that in different ways, but it's just been more prominent where I remember I got this sandwich from a sandwich shop, and the universe told me to, my spirit guides told me to buy chips. I'm like, okay. And I think that the reason I bought these chips was for this exact thing. And I ate the sandwich, and then I opened the potato chips, and I think they told me to eat them, and I ate them, and I was like, oh, like it just felt like, not like dark, like it was darkness and bad, but it just felt like lower vibe and like darker. And I instantly noticed as I put it in my mouth, I'm like, this is not at the vibration I need it to be for myself. And so I just kind of didn't eat the chips. And I think someone else ended up eating the chips who wanted the chips. So I forget why we're talking about this, but oh yeah, eating healthy. I'm not saying that's literally going to be happening for you in the same ways, but it can make a difference. And for me in the past, I typically would be of the stance of, you know what, you're not limited, and you can be high vibrational and connected and channel and spiritual and eat like certain foods and be unaffected. But at the same time, I'd pay attention to where you are at, the way things are working for you. And if you're at a time where you need to change what you're eating, just pay attention to that and listen to that is something I'd say. So I feel like that's it for the fire signs. They kind of said no more. I know that might be a little bit shorter than it normally is, but if they don't have anything else, they don't have anything else. So anything else before we part ways here? Nope. We'll see if anything jumps in last second. We're going to pull a card for you guys. I'm sorry. 7 of Cups coming out here. The word choice is what I'm getting first and foremost. The thing I'm really drawn to is the castle in this cup, this like castle or this tower here. I feel like you're going to make the right choice about something, especially if you're really worried about a decision or something you're trying to do. I feel like the universe is also steering you towards the correct cups. And here's a weird message. Sometimes choice is an illusion, but not really. And allow them to explain. Sometimes it looks like we have all these options, and like we do, but there's only like one of them that's really correct for you or is really the right way to go. And the universe will sometimes topple the path to the incorrect choice, so that we are moved to the correct choice or led to the correct choice. So if anything collapses in your life, it's probably just not meant for you, is something I'd get. Or if you feel like there are a lot of obstacles and the universe is not removing them, it's probably just, if like a lot of roadblocks, it's your sign to go a different direction or try something else or sit with it and see which way you do feel called to go. But some of you have like 2 or 3 choices in something really important, and you're going to get the correct one, is something I'm getting with this one. If you feel overwhelmed by choice, is another message I'm getting with this card. I feel like the universe is going to be weeding things out for you, is pretty much what I'm getting with that card. So that's good. No more messages with that. We're going to pull one more card, and 7 of Wands coming out here. So yeah, 7 of Cups, 7 of Wands. That's interesting. So with this guy coming out here, they're just saying you're going to be successful. Some of you are afraid you're not going to be, and that's not going to be the case. Like, you will be. The case is you will be successful. Is something I'm getting in something, even if it's longer term or long term, because they're giving me the words long term as well. So don't worry about your long-term success. Or they're playing that Aerosmith song, and it's like where he like screams "Dream On" into the microphone, and then he's like, "Dream until your dreams come true." So I'm not gonna emulate that for you guys right now. Though that would be quite the reading, wouldn't it? So sorry, let's get back to the message here. So yeah, I would keep dreaming on until your dreams come true, and keep taking action. But as far as what the advice for you right now is, don't worry too much about your immediate circumstances. Take the actions you can. Some of you are in the process of becoming successful, and you just kind of have to keep showing up. Others of you just need to trust the universe will get you there at the right time, whether it's business success or love or feeling better about your life or internal progress. Whatever it is, it's coming. You might have to be patient, but you're headed towards it. And if you have to keep fighting through things to get there, like, keep doing it right now. I feel like eventually it'll get easier, something I'm getting as well. So what else do I need to get to with this card? Please. That's kind of the main message, is something I'm getting. I feel like you're going to be more successful than you realize, which is good. I know that's not the typical meaning of that card, but I go based off of what I'm getting when I pick up the card, and like the channel messages I get, intuition, you could say. So yeah, that's how I read the cards. Anything else with the fire signs before we move on here? I would just also know you're on the right track. None of you are messing up your life. If you need to hear that, maybe you're afraid that you're messing up your life in some way. They're pointing my eyes at something on the wall I have up here, that usually when they point my eyes up to it, it's a message that has to do with the planet Jupiter. It's because it, so I want to see if they want to say anything about that right now here. Some of you are expanding out of something that's been really difficult, so just keep going is what I'd say. So they want me to close the reading, and I feel like the last thing is that you'll be rewarded if things have been really difficult. And I'm not saying that's a reason to invite in difficulty, by the way. If you have ease, take that as a blessing, and you'll get rewards at the right time too, even if it's for a different reason. So, but I feel like if you've been through something difficult, you're going to be rewarded. Earth signs. Actually, I need to drink water. So make a reel of it. Are you trying to tell me to make a reel of screaming "Dream On"? I don't know. I could try. I'm not confident in my vocal fry with singing right now. So it might just, it could be really fun anyways. I'll sit with it. I'll see what they have me do. They're telling me to say no, so I'll say no, but maybe a different song, maybe at a different time. I have not done water or air yet. We've only done the collective and the fire signs, so we're doing the earth signs next. So we're putting it up. We're starting. So if you have an earth sign, sun, moon, or rising, it's for you when you see it. So the earth signs, the first thing that came through for you was, we ended the fire signs with an ostrich. We started the earth signs with an ostrich. They kind of brought it through twice there. And it's kind of a similar message, like everything will be moving faster. You also have a higher time ahead. So they're showing me this character from this old game from the first Nintendo console, I think, called Balloon Fighter. And it was this character who had like balloons on his back, and then I think he'd like hop around and flap his wings and shoot darts at enemy balloon people or whatever. I don't know. And I haven't played it a lot. But they showed, I was saying higher time ahead, they showed that character kind of like floating up here. I do feel like you do have more ease and grace coming, at least maybe even in the next week or so here is something I'm getting. Or you're just going to be in a higher vibrational time where you're vibing higher and things flow a bit more. And sometimes we have this time, they're showing it to me like this. And I don't know if I would take this literally, but at least take it as a metaphor. Because they're showing these like different bandwidths, I guess you could say, a vibration, but they're showing it in terms of like a sky, and there's different elevation levels. And let's say you are vibing up and you get to this and you're flying with ease and grace and it's smooth and it's great and it's high vibe. And then maybe you need to vibe up even more. There might be a band that's like a little bit rougher in the sky. Maybe it's easy and graceful. Maybe you get a path of ease and grace through it, but maybe you're like working things out of your system and like releasing things and like working through things so you can vibe even higher and get to that next elevation level or something like that. You might have periods of time where you're going through that, but I'm hearing like you're just elevating something right now. And so don't beat up on yourself if things get difficult sometimes after a period of ease or after the ease. It's like you're just inviting in an even higher path of something I'm getting. So for some reason, if you need to hear that, that's kind of coming through as well regarding that higher time. But I feel like this is a higher time it was more smooth. It was more graceful. You might even be just getting out of a choppy period. Some of you, something I'm getting. So that's good. The next thing they're showing me is an alligator. Alligator didn't come through ahead of time, but it's coming through during the reading right now. And alligator is about being ferocious, for this message is something I'm getting. And being ferocious in regards to your dreams, your targets, things you're trying to accomplish in life, your goals, you could say. Though I've been trying to use a different word than goals for different reasons. You know what? I'll tell you, because otherwise why am I even saying that? But for some reason, and I don't know how much I'd really put into this or how much I'd freak out about this. And sometimes I just try to take things with a grain of salt and just see what's true for me about it after a while, instead of just buying everything that someone throws my way. But I was listening to someone talk. It was more of an access consciousness thing. And they were talking about how they prefer the term targets instead of goals, because the original definition of a goal, or like way back when, the old definition of a goal was like a jail. And he was talking about this whole thing about how, goals can kind of, if you're using the term goals, like you're setting, like it doesn't always work right. And I don't know, I've definitely met people who use the term goals and go after goals and they seem totally fine and they're doing great. So that might be a message you want to balance, just take for you what feels right to you. But he instead preferred the term targets, and just for his own reasons for all that. And so I've been kind of just using the term targets for me as well. And I don't know if it really matters, but that's why I do that, if you want the full disclosure of that. So anyways, and again, sometimes I hesitate with certain messages like that, just because it seems like it could be a bit more fear-based or fear-leaning, or it's just like, I'm a little iffy on it. So that's why I haven't like gone full out and been like, oh my God, guys, never use the word goals. Oh my God. Because I just don't know if that's helpful either when, it's like, I don't know. So, but that's why I do that now. Anyways, next message for you guys here is to brace yourself for a lot of different impacts. A lot of things are hitting like a crux point where things will be changing rapidly for you guys. So it's kind of like the boiling point of water. It's like you're hitting the boiling point in a lot of areas in your life. So sometimes like what's the best way to say this? You're putting effort into something, you're putting effort into something, you're putting effort into something, you're putting effort into something. And it's like you're slowly raising the temperature of the water. But you don't notice much change in the water, because you're like, when's this water going to boil? But it's like it has to hit that temperature point before it boils, for example. And that might not be the perfect analogy, but bear with me. And I feel like you're hitting this point where the water is boiling in multiple areas of your life and things are going to be moving, finally, is something I'm getting. Whereas before, maybe you haven't seen as much results, or maybe you've seen some results, maybe you've seen some changes in the water metaphorically, but a lot of it's about to boil over in a good way, is what I'd say, which is fantastic. Next, anything else on that before we move on? I feel like there's also a purpose to this as well with like the boiling water. It's like they're showing, I'm so sorry if you're vegan, but they're showing like crabs. And I don't know if I really feel good about boiling crabs and lobsters alive personally. I feel weird about it. But they're showing something being cooked in the boiling water. And so like, I feel like there's a purpose to this boiling water that serves a greater purpose than you. Like maybe it metaphorically feeds millions or something like that. So I feel like you have a great purpose to whatever you're building, at least some of you. Next message, they showed me a freight train and just said you're unstoppable. You're kind of in that period of time where you're unstoppable. For some of you, that period of time is the rest of your life and maybe beyond. So just know that you're unstoppable is what I'd say. And this is a great time to take action, or soon is a great time to take action, because you have this energy of unstoppability and perhaps momentum as well, some of you. If you feel dead in the water, I don't know if a lot of you do, because I'm kind of getting nope when I say that, but I would do everything you can to build momentum and become unstoppable like a freight train. And some of you might be like, freight trains are stoppable. You put rocks on the rails and they derail or something like that. Okay. Picture an unstoppable freight train and be that instead then. Next message, they showed me a cheetah, and sorry, I didn't mean to like be like that with that voice. But next message is a cheetah, and they just said, be very honest with yourself about your life and where you would like to go. So different message with cheetah this time, but be very honest, write it down. Even if it's painful to look at or hard to bear, it will set you free and lead to a better time, even if change has to come about from it. So I think it's just one of those things where if you're honest with yourself, it leads to your best life, or it leads to better. And for some of you, it could be about a job and you're there because it's comfortable. Maybe it's easy money. You're used to it. Even if your manager sucks and you get beat up every day, but it's like, I'm making such and such amount of money an hour. It's enough. It pays the bills, I guess, but you're also maybe kind of depressed and you don't want to do it the rest of your life. And maybe it's kind of dead end or something like that. And they're just kind of saying like, you know what, maybe it's time to be very honest with yourself about this thing that you're in that is not for you. It's not what you truly desire, even if it's just a lot to bring yourself to look at that. 'Cause you don't, maybe you're afraid of not being able to make as much money, or you're afraid of getting an even worse manager because of your past experiences or something like that. But it's time to be very honest with yourself about all the situations in your life and really move towards what you know is going to be better for you, even if it leads to a painful separation potentially, or just something that's a bit difficult, because it's worth it is something I'm getting. And if you know you're in something that's not for you, why are you there? Is kind of one of the messages they want to kind of talk about with you there. So, and it's not like you're going to literally have to go through a million painful endings and let go of all your favorite things in life and anything like that. But be honest with yourself and ask yourself, like, is this really what I desire? And if it's not, then you have your answer. Next message they showed me, is there more with the cheetah here? I don't know why they had cheetah with that message, maybe because it's like cheetah, like cheater. And I'm not saying someone's cheating on you or anything like that, but it's for some reason that's the way they used it. Anything else? And just know you have better ahead of you if you're leaving something that's not for you. You don't need to be afraid. Even if it takes a year, like, it's worth it, is something I'd say. 'Cause there are definitely situations that I've left that maybe it took a little bit of time to find, not the replacement, but the next phase or the next thing for me. But it's better than it was back then, or way better. So it's worth it. Next message, they showed me a grasshopper. They just said, if you are taking the opportunities that come your way, you will succeed. I feel like that's been coming up a lot of these weeks as a message, but just a reminder to take the opportunities that come your way. And yeah, of course, use your discernment and intuition, but I feel like it'd be really good for you to do that. And if you need to work hard for it, all the better is what I'd say. Like, that's fine. But take the opportunities that come your way that will lead to something good is what I'd say. They're showing me a blue jay next. It's about a period of happiness, and like, it's like the sun. For me, that's like the sun tarot card in some ways. And you definitely have that ahead of you, in addition to the other things that are going to be going on, whether you're working hard or working through certain things. But it's better to have that sun and you're doing hard work than having the moon and a lot of hard work, or having a storm and having a lot of hard work. So I feel like there might be a good time, but potentially there's a lot of work is something I'm getting for the earth signs, potentially. And if it's not that, maybe you're doing a lot of work on yourself, and like it's good times that are happening as well, like either in between that or in addition to that or during that is something I'd say. They're showing me a scorpion next here. Just a reminder to stay away from people you know are toxic, exes, family members, people you know are going to be going to suck to be around, etc. You know, and just pay attention to your energies when you're around people and see how you're feeling. And even if you feel like you keep getting stung by people, like maybe it's like backhanded compliments or passive aggressive stuff, it's just like stay away from those people is what I'd say, or find a way to, or limit your time with them or something. I just don't feel like that's what you need right now. That's kind of it though. There might be a couple more messages. We might pull a card or two here. So 5 of Swords, me no like this card. But before we prejudge it, let's see what this is about here. I'm hearing the word self-pity with this card, and maybe even like self-attack, interestingly enough. Definitely don't do that is what I'd say. You might have enough against you without you being against yourself. So anyway, you can be your own cheerleader and your own celebrant. Is that the right way to use that? Your own person who celebrates yourself. That's going to be much more helpful for you than joining in when people judge you, for example, or beating up on yourself when something doesn't go your way or something like that. Anything else that this card is talking about here with the 5 of Swords here? I do feel like it does represent a difficult situation ending. We already talked about that. I feel like this is a bit of a not fun message, but this person is also like walking away from people who might have like betrayed him or tried him is something I'm getting. You just need to, if that's you need to move to people who support you or invite that in, and is something I'm getting. If you have to be on your own for a time as you walk away from people and invite in people who support you, like that's fine. That message is not going to be for all of you. I feel like that's for a select few of you as well. So any other messages for you with this card? I would also just make sure you're winning in a way that's for the highest good of all around you. And if you need to hear this, most of this crowd, I know, like for a certain number of you I've talked to in one-on-one readings, and I know you're not like this, but for some of you, if you need to hear it, try not to win too much at, in a way that's like brutally at other people's expense. And what's the best way to say this? Maybe there are certain times where one person succeeds and another doesn't at a certain venture or situation. That doesn't mean the person who doesn't succeed in the same venture won't find something else that better suits them. And it doesn't mean both people can't win in the long term by them finding what's for them, if that makes sense. I would also just make sure you're using your words wisely and not using them against yourself. So I know that's like a couple different scenarios, but there's different ones of you watching this, so it doesn't not make sense. Right. I don't like this card either. 10 of Swords. So there's kind of these like difficult cards coming out here right now for you guys. So there's a couple of messages. One, I feel like this is about the past with the 10 of Swords coming out here. Again, there's another message about moving on from difficulty. Was getting a message like if you have like a future 10 of Swords, which is kind of like a defeat or something not going your way, there's saying like move on from it as quickly as you can and move to the next thing that will work or might work instead of dwelling on something not going well. I also just feel like you've had enough of this. You've had enough of this like 10 of Swords or like defeats, or I don't like the word betrayal. It's coming out though. I feel like it's I feel like it's just a card a lot of like tarot readers will like use over and over again, and I'm like, is it really always that intense? Because I don't know, but sometimes it is. And so it's the word that's coming in, so I'll use it, I guess. But if you feel like there's that happening, or was that happening? Sorry, I got distracted by myself talking about that. Let me get the message again here. I feel like you're moving away from this. I feel like you're moving away because they were saying you had a lot of this in the past, whether it's betrayal or things like that. And I don't feel like you'll have too much more. I feel like the one thing to watch out for is just people who don't have your best interest at heart, or people who get jealous of you and it's very noticeable. It's like, okay, maybe consider leaving that behind or putting some space between you and those people. You don't need people who want your defeat in any way, shape, or form. That's just going to be annoying. Like a fly is something I'm getting. Again, I try to move towards people who are supporting your success. I'm going to get one more here. 2 of Cups here. I feel like this is about walking away from someone for some reason. I know usually this card is a positive card, because usually there's a couple different ways this can be read. It can be like a soulmate. It could be like a good match for you. A lot of the times it's a love card. In this scenario here, you might be like elevating and leaving certain things, or maybe even people behind. And again, it could be like leaving a job situation behind. It doesn't have to be like, oh, you have to break up with your husband. It doesn't have to be that necessarily. I'm hearing a message like maybe there is someone or something you need to walk away from to succeed. I feel like you'll just walk away at the right time if that's you and if that pertains to you. And you'll know if it's not this person that you need to walk away from, because you'll be able to succeed with them is something I'm getting, obviously. But just make sure the people that are with you and you keep around with you are people that can come with you, like when you succeed. I don't know if that's the perfect way to phrase it, but there might be people around you that can't come with you. But what's the other way to say this here? Just know if you have to walk away from someone for whatever reason, it will be worth it, is something I'm getting. There is a positive message with all this as well here. A lot of those energies that were like the 10 of Swords and the 5 of Swords, like were in the past, is something I'm getting. And it's kind of talking about your victory over those things is something I'm getting. And if you feel like any of that is you now, you will have victory over it. And I don't like this message. Like maybe there's some type of like slightly or painful separation or something, but you're just going to get something that's 10 times better as a result of it. And you don't have to beat up on yourself or push yourself to make any of this happen, by the way, like force yourself to leave someone or something just because I said it right now. You can leave at the right time. You can sit with it. You can make sure it's right for you and just see what these cards are talking about for you. And the universe will show you. You know, I'm always a proponent, and I've always noticed that the universe just will show you. Like the clarity, the truth does come. Always. And if you have to walk away from something, you'll know what it is. Don't do it in a hurry right now just because I said something on this live right now, unless you know what it is something I'd say. I didn't say that right. I'm so sorry. You get me. Let's move on. I don't want to beat a dead horse or anything like that. Sorry those cards weren't fun, but maybe I shouldn't apologize. Like, it is what it is sometimes. And sometimes looking at it for what it is going to be what helps you elevate out of it, or just move to the next phase where you can have like your 10 of Cups and like all the good cards and stuff like that. There is one more message with this reading. They're showing me a duck, which symbolizes a lot for you right now. It might be a good time to paddle hard under the surface, even if you look really graceful above the water. You know, it might be a good time to try and move forward, even if you feel like you have to swim against the tide a little bit, because they're showing me like a duck trying to like kind of like swim upriver a little bit, and like he's like flying up a waterfall, and he's kind of, I mean, it would make more sense for me in this analogy to fly instead of paddling against the river, but I don't know, maybe it's a no-fly zone for ducks or whatever. I don't make the rules. Do I? No, sorry, I don't make the rules, but had to check. But yeah, now's a good time to like paddle hard. And even if it looks graceful on the surface, and just know, again, kind of like the fire signs had at the end of their reading, know your rewards are coming. Especially if you're leaving something difficult behind, like you're just meant for greater things, and things that keep you stuck are not for you. People, things, situations, it's not for you. We're going to move on to the air signs now. Whoop, I already pulled the sign down. So I feel like I'm not done yet though with the earth signs. So what else do we need to talk about here? Just, they're kind of clarifying again, like you have a unique journey. Not everyone can come with you, but the right people will. And I don't feel like you're necessarily going to be alone forever or anything like that. If you feel like you have to leave certain people behind, or you have been recently, but the right people will come in at the right times for you is what I'd say. Whoop. Okay, we're moving on to the air signs. How does it get any better than all that? So if you have an air sign, sun, moon, or rising, this is for you when you see it. They want me to unmirror this now for some reason, even though we got halfway-ish through the live. So that's fun, but yay. So if you have an air sign, sun, moon, or rising, this is for you when you see it. Of course, the first thing that they're showing me a kite first and foremost before I get into the messages that came through ahead of time and channeled through ahead of time. And again, we have a message for you about ease and kind of allowing the universe to lift your sails instead of like forcing things to happen. I'm not saying this is going to be you or to take this super literally, because it's a little bit of a brutal analogy to take literally. But if a kite were to like force something to happen, like if it were to like ram itself into a rock wall to try and move it, the kite would crumple. But if it were allow the universe to lift its sail and lift it with ease and allow it to fly where it needed to, it could just kind of lift itself up over the wall when the right gust of wind came and have ease in the journey is something I'm getting. And right now you need to allow things and allow things to happen and allow things to unfold at the right time. Even if you really want to force things to move forward, and if you have like an earth sign and you're watching both readings and you're getting these messages, or whatever other sign, you're getting these messages to like work hard, like into things and work hard, I feel like you'll have ease in a weird way, ease in doing so, or it'll like feel right. It'll feel like either it'll feel like spirit's leading you to do that, or you'll just feel motivated to do it, or something like that. So it's not like you're maybe in a little bit, but maybe you're not like totally forcing yourself to work hard. It's like it just comes to you that's the right thing to do it, and then you're doing it. But for whatever reason, one of the things I'm getting for you is you need to like allow things right now and trust they'll work out. And that's going to be a lot better than clinging to things, forcing things to happen, yada, yada. Just kind of flow with what's coming your way is what I'd say in one way, but in other ways, I would just kind of flow with what you need to do and work with yourself and your energy levels on doing it. The next message, they showed me a gorilla. And funny enough, along with that message is if you do have challenges, like they showed this gorilla and then they showed him have like a serious face. I don't know if you've ever seen Toy Story where Mr. Potato Head puts on his angry eyes when he needs to like do something like angry. And he's like, it's time for the angry eyes. But this gorilla was sitting there and he was like, he had like the angry or like serious eyebrows. And, you know, I feel like in a lot of ways, if you have challenges coming your way that the universe is kind of forcing you to look at, it's kind of time to face them like head on. It's time to kind of be strong regarding them. And even just like one challenge taken on and defeated will give the momentum to topple the other challenges and face like the easiest challenge. So face the easiest challenge and build momentum towards it. I feel like with the kite message and like kind of balancing those two messages here, I feel like you're just going to know what this is. I feel like the universe will either like put it in your face or thrust it in your face. You'll be like, okay, now it's time to face the challenge. Like, here you go. And you'll just kind of need to balance those messages, or maybe they'll apply in like different ways or different areas. So just keep that in mind when it comes to like balancing those messages. The next message, which is kind of similar to the kite one, interestingly enough, and maybe this will be our answer for both these messages because now it makes sense. But they showed me an air dragon, which was kind of, I don't always get like specific, like, oh, this dragon with this thing. Like usually like a dragon will show up and they'll have a message about it. But this was specifically an air dragon. And I guess you could, it's just like a dragon that was, to me in my intuitive visuals, I don't know. Well, I'll just talk about it. What this dragon is about flow and ease, like just through the sky with the currents, but it is also powerful. So how can you flow with the winds of your life, but also hit like a truck? For instance, flowing with the way your life is going, but when an opportunity presents itself, strike hard. I feel like that is the balance and the clarification I was asking for between the first two messages. Because when I was reading that, I'm like, these don't line up, do they? But I guess they do. So flow, ease, allow, and then when the right opportunity presents itself, like flow with that energy and strike hard, I suppose you could say, and go with the flow of the air in your life or the winds or whatever you want to say. I feel like that's going to be a key, and hopefully that's like making sense to you. And maybe hopefully like you're at least picking up on the energy of what that would be like as I'm talking about this, if you don't like cognitively understand it. but I feel like you do actually, so that's good. Next message is submarine. They just showed a submarine submerged underwater. They just said sometimes when life has you underwater, you're learning to appreciate the air, the ease, or something else. So they also said that appreciation will change your situation. I would be doing like a gratitude or appreciation journal at the end of every day, or do it in your head at the end of every day. They're saying 5 things. So 5 things you appreciate from the day and or in general, and watch how that changes things over time is something I'd say. For some reason, if you're already doing that, perfect. But for others of you, for some reason, I feel like that's going to change your situation somehow. And you know what? Sometimes that raises our frequency and it changes what we focus on. It changes what we manifest. It can just help. And it can help rewire you to like look at what's you appreciate and what you're grateful for. And that can give you more ease and lightness and joy because you're appreciating your life. So if you're not already doing that, I would try to do that, as simple as that sounds. The next was about obstacle removal. Another piece of advice for you is, in addition to that, pray for obstacle removal and things will get easier. So I know for the first 2 signs, we kind of had a message of obstacle removal, I think, or at least for the fire signs. For you guys, I would like pray for it like every day, like every morning, every night, whatever it is. And it could be a simple prayer. It could be like, okay, universe, please remove any obstacles that would be for the highest good for you to remove for me. Thank you so much. Or you could ask Ganesha, or ask Source, ask your angels, ask your spirit guides, ask who you feel called to ask, your whatever higher power resonates for you to ask for help from. That will do it, is what I'd say. And they can all do it, you know. It's like another way to source. It's another way to higher power for the highest good, doing things in your life that's for the highest good. So utilize whichever one resonates for you. So the next message is that you are just on the right track. So I'd say the air signs are on the right track here. As I'm reading this message, like the air signs look a little beat up. I'm so kind of sorry because they showed the track, they showed you on the track, but you also looked like a little beat up or like a little haphazard. Some of you, maybe not all of you. And I just want to say things will get better is pretty much what I'm saying. Like if you feel like life has beat you up 6 ways from Sunday, the past year or the past couple, I feel like things will get easier. I'm getting a weird message like flow with what life brings you and catch the rides you can. So if life brings you opportunities, like I've been saying, like jump on it. Maybe there's a train you can hop on or something that comes along your path and it takes you, further or takes you to the right place or things like that. But anything else on that? Just know it'll get better is something I'm saying. The next thing they showed me was a truck. This one was really interesting because they gave me the phrase that, and this used to be a phrase that they brought through a lot. Or a few times at least that I remember back in the day when I was like the first year I was doing readings professionally. And it was this phrase of like, keep trucking. And keep trucking kind of means like, when you're in life and you're in the phase you're on, like just keep going, keep trucking. And sometimes it can be about the process. Like if you're in a job, but you want to quit, but you need to like save up a certain amount of money to like, or start this business, it's like, keep trucking, like keep going, keep pounding, like you'll get there. For whatever reason, they showed me a very specific truck. It was like an old box truck that looked like it was from the 90s. It was like I think there was like an Isuzu brand truck. I know Isuzu is like a car, right? But it was like white. It was kind of beat up. It looked a little dirty. It was from the 90s. The other message with this truck is like, you're getting an upgrade to who you are. And it's also a message that you can handle life and to keep going. So all of that is what I'd say. And I guess this like Isuzu 90s truck is getting an upgrade. They're showing me someone who's like doing van life. I don't know if I'd take this literally. It could be just a metaphor. And they have like this old beat up truck because that's all they can afford. But then they get this like fancy RV that's $1 million because they can. Maybe they worked their way to it, or maybe life brought them a gift or something. Maybe they befriended a millionaire and the millionaire's like, I've got an RV for you to borrow indefinitely or something. I don't know. But for some reason that's coming in as well. Like you're getting an upgrade to who you are regarding that. And there is more for you for sure. They're showing me grapes. Usually when grapes show up, it's about rewards. And usually they show some, like someone with grapes dangled over them, like an emperor or something. And in this instance, maybe it seemed like some of your rewards are never going to come in, or they've been like withheld for you. Because they're showing this grape bunch, but like one of the grapes is like rotten, or like, and some of the grapes are like missing. And it's like, you kind of got this incomplete like reward or grapevine, or you feel like that's what's going on. And the universe is saying, like, you know, the complete reward is coming. Like, that's what they're saying. The complete reward is coming. Keep trucking is kind of what they're saying with that one. And they're not trying to like extend it out for no reason or anything like that. If you felt like you were supposed to get a reward by now, or you've been waiting for a reward, they just would like to give it to you at the right time when it's appropriate and will do you best is something I'm getting. So your rewards are not withheld. They're just timed appropriately is something I'm getting for anyone who needs to hear that, whether it's success or a relationship or manifestations coming in or whatever is something I'm getting. Good news is they're just really blatantly saying you guys have better coming in general. I feel like if you've been going through it, it's time for things to get better, and life isn't always going to suck. If you felt like life is sucking, and maybe not all of you have, I would hope not all of you have felt that way. But it gets better is something I'm hearing. They're showing me a dove as well, and he's kind of bringing did the dove bring the olive branch? He's bringing the branch. The dove is bringing the branch, my friends, and whatever branch it may be. So I feel like you're kind of getting a promise things will get better. That's what I'm getting. Anything else for the air signs? We're going to pull one card, Queen of Swords here. Some of you are very hesitant to accept anything in your life or new things into your life, but you kind of need to. This queen needs to receive and open up to the gifts that the universe is trying to bring her is something I'm getting. So I feel like if you're willing to open up to your gifts, you will have them. I know that sometimes, like, I've seen people like get upset when the receive message comes up because they're just like, someone will say something like, you need to receive. And they're like, dang it. And they're like, get up from the couch and walk away from the podcast or whatever. But if that's the answer, that's the message, you know? So don't be too neglectful of new things coming into your life. Don't be too closed off to new gifts or things coming into your life. It's like time to receive is something I'm getting. And your blessings might come in the form of new things. You might have an old business that you're trying to make successful, and the universe is trying to bring you good new things through something new. And you're like, no, it's not through my old business. I don't want it. But it's like, hey, excuse me. Sometimes you don't get to dictate the way the gifts, the blessings come in. You just have to receive it and trust the universe knows best. And I feel like that's you, is what I'd say. So maybe not all of you. Some of you are open to this. Some of you are good. But for those of you who are stubborn, open to receive in new ways is what I'd say. Or be open to new ways of things coming in here. I'm also getting a message of just like not cutting people's heads off, because this queen is like ready to like cut people's heads off. So I'd be like gentle with others and yourself as a reminder, and be gracious with your words and have grace for others. And in turn, grace will be bestowed to you is what I'm hearing from others or by others. So for whatever reason, if you need to hear that, do your best not to cut off people's heads with your words or with your actions. And try not to be ruthless. Try to be gracious at least with other people. Maybe that has to do with your dreams a little bit as well, where you're a little bit gracious with the way it shows up instead of forcing it to be a singular way. Because maybe the singular way you're trying to go, the road's out and you're going to drive off a cliff. And the universe is like, hey, baby, what if you drive over here instead of driving off a cliff, and just trust that we know best. And even if it seems like a detour, maybe you'll get like 20 blessings on the way that make it like the best trip, you know, the best way you could have gone ever or yet, or something like that. So keep that in mind right now. They're showing me the tower as well. And this tower is being like attacked by a dragon, and it's kind of crumbling. And if anything in your life is falling apart, like trust it is something I'd say as well. Like it's supposed to. It's like maybe in some ways it's what you asked for, and things are falling apart because you need them to fall apart because something better is coming in is something I'd say. So maybe this dragon is actually something you employed to get you to better, and you just didn't think it would happen this way. And they're like, that's okay. Like, be gentle on yourself. Don't beat yourself up. But there's a reason the things are happening the way they are. And if something's crumbling in your life, you need to trust that is something I'm getting. We're going to close the air signs reading. So I hope that was helpful, and whatever was for that is good for it to do for you. And I'm going to take a quick coffee second here. I think I used too much creamer. It's delicious, but I don't know. Anyways. Hey, Bailey, we were on the air signs. We're moving to the water signs. So, I need 1 second. It seems like, for whatever reason, like this is the period of time where I kind of hit this, like, I don't know if you'd call it the wall, but I don't want to create a wall, but I just hit this, like, with, like, the, like when you're channeling, like you're bringing the channel messages through you, or maybe it's just a lot of time to channel, or maybe you water signs are really potent, and I'm just feeling the energies, which might be part of it, but I feel like it's just because I've been doing it for the amount of time I've been doing it straight by the time I get to this point in the reading here. Okay, anyways, put the sign on the wall. Let's talk about crickets, because that's what I wanted to. Well, that they were showing me crickets, and then that little jingle popped into my head, and so I sang it. And so what is up with crickets, universe? Because that's showing up for this reading right now. Crickets are usually a good luck and a good omen, and it can also be about music as well, because the crickets chirp and they make their cricket music, and they have their cricket nightclubs out on your lawn, and you're like, hey, you're not paying rent for this cricket party. I was going to say something that was a bit more rated R, so never mind. Anyways, why are the crickets showing up here? Fully, if that's good. I feel like this is a good omen for you, or you have a lot of good omens to like pay attention to right now. Like, I feel like this message of you being lifted out of darkness, you being lifted out of despair, I feel like the light is kind of breaking through some darkness you've been going through. You do also just have good luck on the way, or just like things kind of like rolling in your favor where things just work out more easily. Maybe you're feeling a bit more miraculous. You're feeling a bit better about life, which is good. As far as the music thing, you might be someone who's being rebalanced through music, whether it's through sound healing, or maybe your favorite song is something that's going to help you move or clear some energy, or just help you get in a better mood. And maybe music's just really important right now for you as far as healing is concerned. So I'd look into sound healing, or just putting some sound healing on Apple Music or Spotify or YouTube or whatever whatever the kids do these days. And I feel like that'll be helpful for you. But this is a good omen that things will get better, essentially. So if you see crickets, I feel like that's just confirmation. Next message, they just said, you are on the way to victory. Keep moving. And I feel like you guys are climbing the mountain. I feel like it's an easier journey than like someone who's literally climbing up a cliffside or like scaling a mountain or anything like that. I feel like there's a path and you just need to follow it, or you just need to keep going, but you're just headed towards victory, which is fantastic. So that's going to be coming in. It could be in business, but could be in another area if you don't have a business or you're focused on other things. Next message is that they just said that you are a beautiful person. So if you need to hear that, you are a beautiful person, and not to doubt that. And sometimes you guys beat yourselves up because of the past, or past mistakes, or past things people have said. It's time to let go of that, is something I'm getting. Like, you haven't messed things up so badly that your life is going to suck and you're going to tank everything. And sometimes we beat up on ourselves way harder than God ever will, if that makes sense, or way more than the divine, the all-knowing, all-seeing, infinitely intelligent, infinitely wise divine that is all of it and knows everything about it would. So for some reason I'm getting this message like, don't beat up on yourself more than God would. And some of you are like, well, Spirit wouldn't beat up on me at all. Oh, well, there you go. But the next message here that they'd like to get to is you have way better times ahead, kind of like the air signs, but they just said you are being lifted out of a lot. We already said that, but it's just a very blunt message. Like, you do have way better times ahead. And I think sometimes they're showing me like a Mario Kart analogy, kind of. It's something that looks like Mario Kart. It's like sometimes we're going to get what would be best for me to say here? Sometimes we think we're going to get mud pit, muddy McMuddington, difficult racing road to live our life on. But then we get like magical Rainbow Road with ease and grace. I don't know if that's the perfect analogy, because Rainbow Road's supposed to be one of the more like end tracks in Mario Kart, but maybe you're just getting something way better than you expect, instead of like being dragged through the mud like before, is something I'm hearing, if you feel like we're dragged through the mud like before. So I just feel like something better is coming, which is good. And I feel like you're also being lifted out of old mindsets and like old ways of being and like doing things. I feel like you've evolved a lot and evolved out of a lot, and you're going to start seeing what's hatching because of that, which is fantastic. Next message, they show me a gorilla again, and gorilla is just kind of just saying like, any challenges are meant to grow you, and if you face them, they will be easier than you suspect. Is something I'm getting. It kind of reminds me of the mountain in the earlier part of the visual, because they were showing this mountain and climbing the mountain, but it was like an easier journey. It was like an easy journey almost, or I don't want to promise it's totally easy, but there was more ease to it or something along those lines, because they did give me the words easy journey. But I just feel like if you're facing challenges, like they'll be easier than you suspect. And sometimes that's the key to our growth, is just going after the challenges we've been avoiding and grabbing the bull by the horns, and then realizing the bull was actually just like a centipede. And you just have to, I don't know, if you don't like squishing bugs, you can rescue the centipede and get it outside, or you can squish it, or whatever spirit tells you to do. I know we tend to have a lot of judgments about these things, but never mind. They don't even want me to say it. No, anyways, go rescue the centipede or whatever. It's not, instead of like fighting a bull. Anyways, next message here. What else would be good for us to get to here? They're kind of just singing that Wizard of the Oz song, Follow the Yellow Brick Road. A lot of the moves you need to make are obvious. Like you just need to kind of keep going is something I'm getting. A lot of you have set things into motion that are going to lead to success, or are going to lead you down your path. So you just kind of need to keep going, maybe get going, because get started to slip out there. You need to keep going or get going. Next message, they show me a crystal, and the message is to like work with crystals to heal, hold them while you meditate. They're going to help you. Sometimes you just need that reminder. Like I have crystals all around. I have really cool crystals, not to like toot my own horn, but what I'm trying to say is like I have a lot of crystals all around, and some of them are really cool, and sometimes I just forget to work with them. Like they're there, and I'm like meditating, or I'm doing different things, or I'm doing energy healing, and I just kind of forget that I have these really cool tools around to help me, or to sit with. And sometimes their job is to like, they're just doing what they do wherever they are, and they're helping the home, they're helping you just kind of by being there in the home and doing plenty that way, or just impacting the energetics in the way that helps you. They're doing what they do, but sometimes it's helpful to like work with them more actively, or work with them in your healing. So this is your reminder to just kind of maybe try working with them a bit more, or if you're already doing that, you're on the right track, but just try it is something I'd say. So they want to clarify or go a little bit deeper into the message about you guys have a lot better coming. So let's go deeper into it. I feel like sometimes people get into these circumstances where they just kind of feel like things are always going to be the same, or they don't feel like things will change. And au contraire is what they're saying. Things are going to change. And I'm getting this is your sign that they will. It might be fast, maybe you hit this like boiling point, like we were talking about with one of the other signs in March. And if you're seeing this in the future, like next month or next couple months, and like things just change really quickly, but things are not going to be the same as something I'm getting. And they're kind of just saying to prepare for that, or they're having me bring this through to prepare you for that. Excuse me. They are showing me like this rainbow and like this rainbow crystal next. So what's going on with this rainbow here? I feel like you guys are, because this rainbow is like in this like crystal chunk, and they're showing you guys like unfreezing this rainbow, which is about like hope. It's about healing. It's also about flow. And maybe certain things have been a little bit stopped up recently, or maybe you've even just felt a little bit haggard. I feel like you're taking the pickaxe to this frozen rainbow, not to destroy it, but to unleash it and to bring a bit more light and hope into your life. And for whatever reason, I feel like you're going to be unfreezing some hope in your life, whatever that means, which is interesting. And sometimes you think hope is lost, but it's not. It's just maybe you are tired and need food and a nap. And then you see it again or something like that, depending on your mood. But they're just saying like, hope is not lost. Like there's so much in store for you that are like good things, and you need to not give up is kind of something I'm getting for you along with that, this is starting to feel like a pep talk a little bit. They're showing me a tent next. And for the water signs, the other message for you is like no waiting around. Like, there's kind of like people who, what's the best way to say this? There's a phrase in like video games called like camping, and I don't personally play too many like super violent video games or like shooters or anything like that. anymore. I think it was really cool when I was like 12 or 13, like Halo was really fun and stuff like that, but I just don't like the vibe anymore, and of just like too much violence or things like that. But the term in video games camping is typically like in like a first person shooter, and someone kind of stays in one spot where they know a lot of, you know, opposing players are going to be walking, and then they'll just kind of like take advantage of that spot and like kind of take out whoever comes their way, if that makes sense, in the game. And as far as why this is showing up for you and why this like camping thing is showing up for you, I feel like it was a message of like not waiting around and like almost like not camping, not sitting put, but like either just taking action on things or just doing what you know you need to do. And sometimes it can be tempting to like sit put and like wait for things to change. And sometimes that's a valid strategy and that's exactly what you need to do. I feel like right now you need a bit of both. Like you need a bit of like maybe a bit of camping and a bit of action, or a bit of sitting put, or a bit of patience and a bit of action. So just do what you know you need to do is what I'd say. I guess that's your metaphorical and gentle and loving kick in the pants from the universe. We're going to pull, what would be best for us to do here? We're pulling a card, and we have the King of Swords. Oh, wait, we have the Star card, which is funny. We have a lot that kind of spread out here. We have the Star card, Ten of Cups, King of Swords. We're going to start with the King of Swords here. I wouldn't be overly logical about your life circumstances right now. I would be intuitive and approaching things based on the energy and intuition or channel messages you're receiving, not just the logic. It's tempting to be logical because of the world we're in and be like, it don't make sense to do this because of XYZ. But what you don't see logically with the XYZ is that there's also W and ABC. And if you saw W and ABC, the logical thing would be to not do the thing you were going to do. But if you're using your intuition, you either realize that W and ABC are there, or you just get the message to do it and the different thing anyways. And you're like, oh, I see why, because of W and ABC. So, try not to be overly logical right now. Trust your gut, trust your intuition, trust your heart. And by trust your heart, I don't mean your emotions. I mean your like intuitive heart, like your heart that knows everything and things like that. Trust your soul. There's these birds in the back of the card as well on the background, and they're pointing my eyes to it and giving me this message about flying away. They're channeling through this message about flying away. And you might need to leave some old ways of doing things behind. Like it could even be regarding business. It might be, if you have a business, it might be time to change a business or do something else for your income. It doesn't mean like quit your business. It could just mean like changing it. But there are certain things you're being guided to walk away from right now, and you need to heed that as something I'm getting. And you know what this is, or you will know what this is what I'm getting. And you know what? The birds are above the clouds. Sometimes being above the clouds can symbolize clarity. And I feel like once you get clarity on what it is, like do what you need to do, like get out of there or leave, fly away is something I'd say. Fly to something new and grand and unforetold and beautiful, like a castle in the sky or fairy tale lands. But fairy tale, okay, I need to talk about something and explain that, because fairy tale land doesn't, sometimes that is a metaphor for just living life in imagination land and not doing anything and nothing happens, and it's like a metaphor for rose-colored glasses. In this scenario, what if your dream life can become your true life? And what if some aspects of fairy tale land can become the truth if you're willing to work towards it, manifest it, be it, etc., or be what you need to be to bring that in? And the universe is also saying don't be overly logical, because that is possible. Yeah, hear me. And maybe someone, like, for instance, grew up poor. And so in their logical brain, they're like, oh, I grew up poor. My parents say I'm going to be poor. The world says I have to be poor because I grew up poor. Therefore, I will be poor. But one, that's actually not even logical, because there might be opportunities to not be that, to become something else. And like maybe in fairy tale land, that person becomes a billionaire from like a shoe, I don't know, shoe factory company they create or something like that. And, but if they're willing to get clarity on certain things and leave certain things behind and trust that they can create what they'd like to create, they can create at least part of their fairy tale land. And maybe it's not perfect. Maybe it is. I don't want to limit it. But you'll never know unless you try and are willing to leave behind the things that are keeping you from it, or are keeping you from it, or you are shown are keeping you from it, if anything. And they didn't like exactly how I brought that last bit through, so what's the best way to say this here? Just know you can make things happen and don't stay stuck, is what I'd say. 10 of Cups coming out here. This is about, well, the card's falling out of my hand, so what should I do about that? We're going to read the other card first. Star card coming out here. We did already talk about the star and like the unfreezing hope. Well, actually, that was a rainbow, but that was still about hope, which is kind of one of the things the star symbolizes. And that's why I was saying we already talked about it here. I feel like on this star card, I'm trying to censor this lady because she's naked, and she is pouring out this cup into this pond. And this usually represents like balance, I think, because she's pouring out a cup on land and also in water. But what I'm getting for you is that you need to not pour out opportunity. Like when you see an opportunity, you should take it and don't hold back on it for anything. I don't care if your like partner is upset regarding this message, or they're jealous, or your friends despise you because you're successful, or your boss doesn't like that you're quitting. I don't care regarding this message. And that's the way I'm being guided to say it. Like, don't pour out your opportunities for anything. And yes, within a certain amount of reason, but again, don't be overly logical about things. Trust your intuition and all that. With the 10 of Cups is you have a new path that's bringing you abundance, is something I'm getting. And when a new path shows up, you need to take it, is what I'm getting with this card, interestingly enough. And that's kind of it, honestly. I was getting a message about wish fulfillment on it when I first pulled it, and that is down the road, but I feel like you have to be willing to take action. And if you are, you'll have that 10 of Cups. But that's kind of the message. I guess we're closing out all these last 3 readings with grapes, which typically, again, symbolize rewards. But there's grapes and there's selenites, and maybe there have been some obstacles to your success, and I feel like the road is being cleared. I feel like you need to be a little bit patient with yourself as you work certain like mindsets out of your system, or certain things that have been holding you back out of your system. And just not beat up on yourself don't beat up on yourself because all your awards aren't here yet. Like, they're coming. The road's being worked out for you to get there. And in some ways, you just need to like trust yourself and move forward regardless of your external circumstances, and trust the universe will give you a road, is something I'm getting for those of you who need to hear it. But I don't feel like now's a good time to sit still for the air signs too much. So just keep that in mind. Like, I wouldn't be sitting there like the thinker statue or whatever and contemplating for the next like 6 months of your life. I'd be finding something to do and taking action, or taking action on what you know you need to take action on. Hopefully all that makes sense. I feel like I've been harping on that topic for a while, but and you know, there is a certain amount of fire coming to give you the motivation to do what you need to do. So I feel like if you feel stuck, you're not, and things are coming to get you out of that as well. So I feel like that's it, but the rewards are coming. Just be patient. And again, kind of like the other signs got, if you don't get your normal rewards, you're going to get better rewards, because it's showing this grape bunch made out of solid gold. There's like gold leaf grapes or golden grapes or something like that, like solid gold. And if you don't get your rewards, you get something better than your typical rewards like soon after. So if certain things aren't working out, like, don't beat up on yourself, like, you'll get something better again. So I feel like I've said that a lot, and I hope that was helpful and did whatever was good for it to do for you. I feel like you guys are also coming into alignment with something big, and maybe you're feeling that, and I would trust that will show up is something I'm getting if you feel like that's happening to you. And again, like we were saying this whole reading, there's better ahead for you. Okay, we're going to close it down for that reading. I feel like I'm not done though. I'm so sorry. What are we missing here? I would just also, we already said it, but just know everything's going to change. Because they're showing me like the sands on a beach, but also how like the sands of an hourglass and like kind of moving, and just how everything's like maybe a whirlwind comes in and completely moves the beach around. And for some reason in this visual, like the whirlwind comes, it moves the sand around. There's like a buried like temple underneath the sand of this beach, which could be like a forgotten part of you that's unearthing. And it could even be from a past life or something like that. And I feel like you're unlocking something important in this next phase about you or on your journey that's really going to help you out. And I'm hearing a weird phrase. make you be who you are. So next, we're going to go to a full channel mode message. And so if you've been here with me for a while, you're familiar with this. That reading was for water signs, sun, moon, or rising. Is who that was for. But you know what? Sometimes you'll pop on. Well, never mind. They don't want me to say it, so I won't. I'm going to drink water first. So I'm going to go full channel mode, of course. You guys are probably, if you're here, you're familiar with it, but it's my spirit guides, it's the angels and source, just channeling directly through me. And they're going to bring a message for you. And there's multiple aspects to it. There's the words, there's the, one second here. There's the words, there's the energetic transmission from true highest and best infinite source that it could do energy healing or do whatever is for the highest good for it to do along with the message. And, you know, there can be more. I'm not going to, it's all for the highest good, but I'm not going to limit it. So channeling can also just be a very transformational thing, regardless of the words, but the words can, and typically always do have important messages in them as well. So I'll just start the channel and you'll get it. So fully for the highest good, I'm just going to ask my spirit guides, the angels, and source to channel through me in the highest best ways for you guys. So welcome to today's channel transmission and message. You'll notice we are getting through a lot faster and sooner, and that is in part because Brandon is doing his work. And so too are you who are doing your work, going to find things are going to be easier for you regarding the things that are important to you. For you, that could be love and a relationship and attracting that in. If you are doing your work to work things out of your system, to be a better lover, if you are studying and moving the energies in that direction, you will pave the pathway that will manifest that better love, that higher relationship, and you being that better lover. And as a result, attracting in a more compatible and better match for you. So those of you who are doing your work, you are going to see a fast rise of good things in your life or better things that will kind of lift you out of the muck or things you have been going through, so that you can really have the better world you've been trying to create for yourself and perhaps for others. And self-work really is key through these energies right now. And what does that look like for you right now? It looks like when things come up for you, you sit with them. It looks like when challenges come your way, you face them. It can even look like when certain difficulties come your way, you might ask yourself, why? What is it doing for you? And perhaps you do ask for ease, and there's nothing wrong with asking for ease, we would say, because life can be easy and joyous, and perhaps it is not always. Perhaps there are sometimes challenges or things to work through that grow you to get you to the place where things are easier or better. Or perhaps you are gaining something through the challenge that will lead you to what you asked for. It's working something out of your system. It's healing something that needs to be healed so you can have the better life you desire. So you do not need to beat up on yourself or judge things if things are not always easy, despite the fact we are bringing through the message that things can be easy, for there might be things you are working on to get to that ease. But self-work is the key right now. And self-work does not have to be a super active process where you are always beating up on yourself, trying to force yourself to change and judging yourself out of past patterns and beating up on yourself for that negative thing you said when you were 3 to your parents or to a friend, or when you hit your brother over the head with a truck in the playground when you were 6 or anything like that. Self-work can be allowing things to come up and rise up and facing them as they do. Self-work can be asking yourself the question, what do you need to change? What needs to change in your life? And taking action on it when you know. Self-work can even just be up-leveling yourself etherically, taking the classes you need to take, watching the people, the readers, the teachers you need to watch to get what your soul needs and to get what you need to up-level yourself, even if it is a completely easy and painless experience to just hear the right set of phrases and things click into place. But your work is showing up and allowing that change to take place and allowing yourself to be drawn to and go towards the people and places and things you need to do that. And your self-work could just be one day a week that you sit with yourself, you journal, you sit with your emotions. There are many different ways it could look. So what is self-work to you, and what self-work would help you right now? And yes, that is a question for you to munch on and to sit with. That's also a great question to sit with yourself and ask yourself intuitively. Do you get a visual or a word, or do you hear a message, or in some way feel a message when we ask you that question? You can do that as an intuitive exercise. And if you do not get anything, if you're not in that place right now, do not worry. That question will also manifest the answer. And you asking that question to the universe and to yourself will manifest that answer. All you need to do is ask. And we're not trying to talk about any type of spiritual bypassing with that phrase. All you need to do is ask. But some people complicate it a little bit on Earth, where they think they need to do a triple backflip and build a 12-foot crystal grid and meditate on the top of Mount Shasta for 20 years before they get their answers and their work done and create the life they need to create for themselves and get their manifestations. But sometimes it can be as easy as asking you will receive, and you will be compelled to take action, the action you need to take to make something happen, if you were to ask with the understanding and intention that asking you will receive. And or the universe will guide you in those actions. And do not mind the sign falling off of the wall there. That means nothing. But ask and you will receive. And it can be that easy if you will allow it. And trust that the actions you need to take will be shown to you. Your intuition will guide you on the steps you need to take if action is needed to bring it in. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. But we will never discourage you from taking action, as sometimes that is the work. Working through the emotions that you need to work through to take action to build the business, to work through the nerves, to start doing readings for people that are not you. To work through the things that come up from this lifetime, from any other lifetime that come up when you go to do something. That is the work, is sometimes the forward movement you are trying to accomplish as you move towards a dream or a target or a desire. So in some ways, your manifestations are the work. Not always, but in certain instances, they can be. You creating the life you would desire is the work. You creating the you desire is the work. And sometimes that takes healing. Sometimes that might take a challenge, but it can be easy. Or maybe you can face your challenges with ease and have more ease with the challenges instead of beating yourself up and making it more difficult on yourself as you face them. So why are we talking about all this? Self-work and ease and asking you will receive. One, because you need to hear it, some of you at least, most of you. But two, because these are themes that are going on right now. And some of you neglect your self-work. Some of you do not pay attention to your energies and how they are doing, how people are affecting them. Some of you do not work to clear your energies or sit with how you can better your energies or your gifts and abilities or your life. And some of you do just sit there and hope for things to get better. And there is nothing wrong with this. You are in the phase you are in, and we are not saying this for you to judge yourself or beat up on yourself, but to bring awareness to that. So you can see and begin to ask, how can I work on my energies? What does that even look like? What does this mean to me? And perhaps you will look into it and realize there's a way to balance your energies, or you'll discover a modality to help you balance your energies. And as you work on yourself by balancing your energies every day, suddenly your life begins to transform. And as your chakras balance, as your energies balance, so too do the areas of your life that they correspond with balance. And as above, so below, you begin to slowly transform your life, or quickly, through the work you are doing on yourself and doing your energetic upkeep and working on yourself in those ways. And sometimes the work is just how you show up every day for yourself and others. Sometimes the work is just how you show up every day for yourself and others. It's that simple. And we mean your habits. So in that example, your habits of your energetic upkeep and clearing things out and releasing the traumas or things that come up as a result, as you clear the way for you to release and allow in a better energy, or allow your natural higher vibration to shine forth as you release the trauma and the things of the past that stuck you or held you back, or keep attracting things you don't want to attract your way. Releasing trauma can be a key to that. If you'd like to change the things that are showing up, release your trauma. That is one way to do it, not the only way. And for some of you, that is part of the answer, not the whole answer. But look into that. If you know you have that, you will start to attract better because your vibration will be higher, as so many different spiritual teachers will tell you. And vibration does not have to be just your emotions and thoughts. Some of you might kill yourselves trying to be all happy all the time, not literally. Some of you might beat up on yourselves because you don't feel happy. Vibration has so much more to do with things than just emotion. Emotion is not all that vibration is. Thoughts are not all that vibration is. What about the energies flowing through you? For those of you attuned to Reiki who have a flow of universal life force energy through you, or other modalities, that raises your vibration. Your vibration is so much more than just your thoughts and your emotions. What about the trauma you worked out of your body that allowed a higher, more natural vibration to take its place? Or perhaps you replaced it with Reiki energy, if you do Reiki healing, and allowed the highest and best energies to replace it from there. That's your vibration. And sure, certain things like beliefs may play into it as well, if you have that framework. But how can you up-level your energies? And by the way, you showing up for something like this is self-care. If you felt drawn to this, if you feel compelled to stay, because this is doing work for your highest good. The readings you're watching, especially if you're watching the right readers, are compelling you to take action in the right ways to work on yourself. You're showing up because there is a truth you need to hear, or there is something you are getting out of this, or something that will lead you to greater. So yes, in some ways, you showing up is your work. You showing up is your work. But how can you take it further? How can you take it into your everyday and make a habit of doing your self-work? Because that will transform your life. Your everyday habits will transform your life vastly. Even if it is a small thing you're doing to, as some might say, raise your vibration, heal your energies, upshift your energies, release negativity, whatever you call it. It's all leading in the same direction. Take the framework that works for you and run with it. Take what feels true for you and run with it. But that will transform your life. So what can you do every day to change things in small ways? 10 minutes a day, 20 minutes a day, an hour if you have the time. And that is what we wish for you to focus on right now. Your work on the day-to-day. Yes, there are overarching themes. Yes, there are times where you may need to focus on it more than others. But if you're focusing on that, things will change. And there's one more topic we wish to delve into today. Flying high. You are ready to fly high. You are ready to go higher. There have been so many messages about a collective upswing, upshift, elevation. And you are going to be feeling that this month, whenever you're seeing this. You're going to be feeling this in your future. It is time. And it's not slowing down. Any turbulence is just you going higher. We do not wish to stick you with a message where you feel like you need to create turbulence to feel like you're going higher. It's just something to keep in mind when you feel turbulence. Because you can also elevate with ease and grace without turbulence. And that does happen. You're doing it right now. Most of you. Many of you. But it is time to elevate. That is why this message of self-work is so key. It allows you the space to elevate. It allows you the space for something greater to come in. And beating up on yourself is not self-work. Commiserating is not self-work. Sitting and stewing is not self-work. Self-work has a result that is positive, if you will allow us to use that word. Some of you do not like that word in your vocabulary, and that is fine. But you know what we mean. It is time to elevate. So look at your daily habits and patterns. look at how they are helping to create your life as it is now and how they are helping to create your life as it is going forward, and see how you'd like to shift things. We guarantee you will have a shift if you're looking at this. There is at least one thing you could tweak. Even those of you who have this down, you could say. So with that, we leave you. It is time to elevate above the noise for you. It is time for you to put in your self-work so you can be who you are meant to be. And you can allow your soul through. And you can have the impact you are meant to have here. And all of you are here to have an impact. Every single one of you. Big or small, it does not matter. Though we would say it will be big. For you are those people who will bring that big change. If you are willing to work on yourselves, if you are willing to bring that, and you will. Literally, this lifetime or another. And with that, we leave you. And for those of you freaking out, this lifetime. For those of you for whom it matters this lifetime, to put you at ease, but do the work. We leave you there. We're wishing you well. We know you will elevate in the right ways and times for each of you. And may this reminder serve you well to help you bring about the best life for you, which has an impact on the whole and the collective and the lives of those around you and the lives of those you've never met. We leave you now. Take care and farewell. We are signing out. Whew. All right. So, as always, I hope that was good. So Leo, being aware of our energies, how, balancing energies, how, energetic upkeep, how, examples please, could be as simple as learning Reiki and doing your self sessions and getting aware of your energies and how to feel your energies and how they are doing. And then, being able to check in with if you use the chakras as a framework, your chakras and balancing them, or it could just you could be able to feel how your energies are feeling good one day or not feeling great another day and how to work with that or balance that or how to proceed with that is that's one way you could look at it, is what I'm hearing, if that makes sense. Thank you for the work you do for the sake of this collective. Thank you for thanking me, and you are welcome. It is an honor. And everyone else saying thank you. You are so welcome. I appreciate you. I hope this has been great for you and just helpful, upshifting, doing whatever is for the highest good for it to do for you, of course. And someone mentioned 50K likes, so that's fantastic. Thank you to anyone who's been tapping the screen and giving me the 53,000 likes. That's wild to me, and I really appreciate it. Anyone who's gifted me, I know I'm not always looking at the screen because I'm trying to focus on just getting these readings as well as I can for you. And but thank you to anyone who gifted, who I didn't see or didn't notice it. Thank you. Also, thank you to the moderators who showed up and helped moderate the live today. I saw Destiny here. Rock and Robin sometimes shows up. Sometimes other moderators show up. And so thank you guys for showing up and helping. And anyone in the chat who helped other people out today, I appreciate you. Missed some of it. Can't wait to see the YouTube download. Yes, I will be putting this on YouTube in the next couple of days. I try to get it up on Monday at the latest, but thank you, Leo. That is a great compliment. Thank you so much. When will you do readings again? I did open up some more days. There should be at least one day or more open on my website right now, but they just kind of seem to, they don't always book up right away, but they seem to book up pretty quickly when I open them. So I'm just kind of playing it by ear with my spirit guides and what they're telling me and balancing it with the other work I'm doing, if that makes sense. So, for instance, I have the membership I'm doing right now, and that takes some work to film that and put everything together with that. And, so that the monthly membership with there's weekly readings I do. There's a monthly full channel message that's a bit longer than the ones I do here in the lives, or a lot longer. And there's channel guided meditations and content I'm doing for that. So I'm just doing my best to balance my workload and not overwhelm myself and crash and then not be able to do anything for a month. So that's why I do that. So I do understand that maybe some people have been wanting to book readings and haven't been able to, but I'm just going to trust that the right people at the right times will see the schedulers open and book and all that will work out. So I appreciate you too. So other things going on, if I were to do just, I'm trying to get better at self-promotion. I do have a Reiki 1 class at the end of this week on Saturday, and I do have payment plans available. So you're welcome to check that out. You can book through my website. And I do have Reiki 2 on like March 25th, which is a Saturday. It starts around noon or maybe 1 p.m., noon or 1 p.m. Central Time. And so if you're interested, you can book there through my website. If not, I will see you in the other forms of content I do. So no worries there. And beyond that, if anyone's drawn to it, because every time I start self-promoting, everyone talks about the book. So I do have a book. It's called Spirit Guides, Angels, and Speaking with Source. It's you can find it through my Linktree. It's on Amazon. It's just a quick channeled book on how to speak with your spirit guides. I'm sitting with doing an expanded version or just putting out a volume 2 just with more information on that topic, but we'll see what and how I end up doing that with just the time frame I'm on with different things. And besides that, I think, membership classes. If anyone's taken there is the second class of, never mind. I'll just send an email out about that one. Book, readings, membership, classes. Okay, I think we're good. And yeah, so hopefully this life has been good. And what sign am I? Okay, but you can't judge me for my signs. It's kind of a joke, but I guess it's okay if you do. But I'm a Virgo sign, Virgo sun sign. Then I'm a Scorpio rising and moon. For my big three boys, big three ones. But thank you guys for being here. It means a lot to get to do this. And, if you weren't here, I wouldn't be doing it. I don't know. I'd be doing something else, but it means a lot to get to do this. It's an honor to get to do this. And I appreciate the heck out of you guys and appreciate all this. So thank you. And my absolute wish and hope is that you get the absolute what's for the highest good of all involved, best for you to get or receive from this. This really contributes to you and your life. It really helps in the highest and best ways, does the highest and best work, does all that would be for your highest good. And that's one of my intentions, of course. And of course, I want all of it to be fully for the highest good. So hopefully you are just getting the utmost and receiving the utmost from this and anything else I put out. So, I was going to ask you about Purple Flame. You mentioned it early in the book, but I haven't finished. Oh, yeah. So go ahead. And I think they were using the Violet Flame as an example of an energy where you could work with, and bringing energies through you and doing self sessions or something just to kind of help open you up through running that, energy through you. And the Violet Flame was one of the examples they brought through as one that's just kind of commonly out there. So, you don't have to work with that energy if you're not drawn to it. I have worked with it and it's worked for me, but I'm also hesitant about some of the people who are spiritual teachers out there really purporting it. Not all of them, but there's certain ones that come to mind that I am iffy on, if I'm being nice about it. And so work with it if it resonates for you. And really what it is supposed to be an energy, and you can get any energy from source, by the way, that you can just ask to get from source and work with. And it's meant to transmute the simplified explanation is it's meant to transmute, negative energies or energies that are not for your highest good into energies that are for your highest good. So, and that might be an oversimplification. Maybe one of you has read more up on it and they have more direct knowledge on it, but that's my understanding and my experience of working with it. So I think if you're working with it with that intention, you're good, is what I'd say. Thanks and enjoy. You're off to bed. Good night. Rest well. Okay. Look at your likes. Guys, thank you for the skyrocketing likes. 61,000 likes. I appreciate the heck out of you. I always feel weird. Just something about it just to me feels weird, asking for the likes or asking for the gifts. So any of you who ever just feel called to do that, thank you. I don't know. For some reason, I don't know. But thank you for all those extra likes when I mentioned it. That's fantastic. And I appreciate you guys so much. You guys are friggin' awesome. And absolutely. So, okay. I might hang out for just a second. I'm probably going to close the live soon for anyone who's still hanging around. But I have a violet flame tattooed on my forearm. That's friggin' awesome. That's freaking cool. I need to get a tattoo. I don't need to. Why am I saying? I felt called to say that, so maybe I do. But I've been kind of sitting with that for a while. I haven't got one in a long time, which isn't bad. I think I'd also want to find someone who uses like good natural tattoo ink that would be good for the body as well. Will you do guitar soon? Not this live, but yes, I will. I will. Maybe I'll do it next live or just the next couple. And I need to practice more and just get on that ball. There's so much I would like to do, and I'm just doing my best not to burn myself out on 20 different projects at once or different things. But I'll bring the guitar in. I want another two. I love the tats. Heck yeah. Man. Yeah. Ooh. I'd like to get like a good energy work symbol tattooed on me. Probably not Reiki, but one that I've channeled or something like that. I think that'd be really cool. That's what I've been getting to do every time I check in, but I just haven't been getting the go ahead to do it yet. So maybe we're just waiting for the right tattoo artist. You are so welcome, Lucky, to be here. And thank you very much for the love and the gratitude. Oh my gosh, you guys are just skyrocketing the likes. Okay. You guys are freaking amazing. I've said this 20 times already, but it's always an honor to get to show up and do this. So thank you. And I appreciate being here. Okay, I am going to close the live now. So thank you. So everyone I love hanging out with you guys. I know I talked about doing a hangout live. I just haven't been guided to do it yet. So maybe one of these lives will hang out more or just chat more. Doing anything special for tonight's new moon? You're the second person who's mentioned it to me, so I'm going to have to sit with this and ask what I should do or what would be for the highest good for me to do. Cause I didn't have anything planned. And to be honest, I have not been paying attention to the moon cycles. I've just been living life. So I hope you have the best week too, Destiny. Tonight's a new moon. I don't know in what sign or how, but maybe that's a good thing to Google and maybe we can do something. I don't know about but the general we can do something about that tonight. Okay, you guys take care. I'm wishing you the best and the best week you can possibly have and whatever would be for your highest good and all the ease and grace and love and opportunity that would be for your highest good and success and abundance and all the good stuff. And I will see you on another live or post or wherever I see you. Okay, take care.